Hey guys, welcome to EOC Explained. Let's go over another question today. Alright, we're going to go over 20. If you'd like to read it to yourself, go ahead and pause. Otherwise, we're going to get rocking and rolling. Alright, proteins and polysaccharides are polymers. These polymers are formed by dehydration synthesis. Which statement correctly identifies a difference in the structure of proteins and polysaccharides? Okay, first thing we do, what awesome people do, and that is to highlight some things. So I highlighted a few things. You can highlight what you want. I highlighted proteins and polysaccharides, polymers, dehydration synthesis. Not super important to know that for this one, but if you look up afterwards, that would be good. One important thing to note, polysaccharides are carbohydrates, okay? You know proteins are proteins, but polysaccharides equals carbohydrates. Okay, so let's talk about polymers. What is a polymer? Well, in order to understand a polymer, we need to understand a monomer. And a monomer is like an individual piece. It's like a link to a chain, a single link, right? These links are called monomers. Mono means, I believe it means like single, or it could mean one. So those are monomers, and when you put those links together, you get a full chain. That full chain is a polymer, so it's a very big unit, okay? Which brings us to, let's go to J. Only proteins can be large molecules with thousands of subunits. Those subunits, of course, will be the monomers. Well, we know from the very first sentence that it says proteins and polysaccharides are polymers. So they're both very large units, not just proteins. So that tells us that that's not true because it just singles it out to proteins when in the question it says, hey, they're both polymers. So yeah, let's eliminate that one, okay? Okay, so we got our polymer. There it is. There we go. We'll knock that out. All right, let's jump up to F. Only polysaccharides are comprised of repeating units of cytosine, adenine, guanine, and thymine. Well, those should sound familiar. Those should sound very familiar, especially when you look at just the letters A, T, C, G. That sounds a lot like DNA, right? When you line up those letters together, bam, you get the DNA. A matches with T, C matches with D in DNA. Excuse me, C matches with D. I said it again, DNA. C matches with G. And that's DNA. So, as we know, the nucleic acids, these are the monomers of nucleic acids, okay? There's a picture of DNA, just so we're super familiar with. That's what it looks like. Just like we said before, adenine matches with thymine, guanine matches with cytosine in DNA, the double-stranded DNA, right? Okay, so that's wrong. So let's eliminate F. All right, let's jump down to H. H says, only polysaccharides can be folded and twisted to very specific shapes. Well, this is interesting. Proteins actually can be folded and twisted, and oftentimes that changes their function, like what they actually do, right? So this is a picture of a protein unfolded and being folded. Not very interesting, but that's more or less what it looks like anyways. But let's get a more realistic picture of something we've seen every day. Sometimes when you cook certain proteins, it folds them or unfolds them by breaking bonds, right? This is an example of something you probably have done at some point in your life, or at least have seen done. When you cook an egg, you actually unfold the protein, thereby making it look a lot different, right? The clear part turns white, the yolk gets solid from liquid, so it changes quite a bit. And there's a really good example below with the paper clips. Assuming the paper clips were the egg, when you cook them, they unfold. And as we said earlier, when you change the way it's folded, you change its function. Just like if you have a piece of paper and you crumple it up, well, now it's a paper ball, right? But if you fold it into an airplane, well, now it can kind of glide. So really it just depends on what you fold it in. Same thing with a key, and a key is really a better example of protein because if I have a key to my house, it's going to unlock my door. But if I bend it up in a different way, it's no longer going to unlock my door, but it might unlock another door, right? So it just depends on the way it's folded just as much as the grooves in it, okay? So that's saying, again, H says only polysaccharides can be folded and twisted. As we see in the pictures, egg is essentially almost all protein. Well, it can be folded too, so that's protein can also be folded, so H is not true as well. Okay, let's look at G. Only proteins are formed from amino acids by peptide bonds. Well, if you've ever been to any kind of nutrition store, especially a store that's, a big bodybuilder store, something like that, you'll probably see something like this on the shelves. It'll be like performance enhancing amino acids, amino blend, alpha amino, things like that. And they're typically right next to the proteins as well. And there's actually a reason for that, because proteins are a polymer, and amino acids are actually the monomer to proteins. They're the building block. They're the chain links to proteins. So when you put a bunch of amino acids together, you actually get what? A protein, right? So, yeah, we know that amino acids, yes, proteins are formed by amino acids and then joined by peptide bonds. So G is the answer. Awesome, guys, job, and have an awesome day.